I'm Sean Fennessey, and this is the Big Picture, a conversation show about Badlands. You gotta live it every day. On today's episode, Chris Ryan joins me to break down Predator Badlands, the 9th film in the Predator series, and a major box office hit this weekend. Badlands is the second Predator film of the year, actually, after the animated feature Predator Killer of Killers, which debuted on Hulu in June. CR and I avowed Pred heads, so this will be a fun conversation. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm in London. It's great to see you across the ocean, across the nation. And yeah, man, blue wave just sweeping London. We're all feeling it.
Is that true?
Very excited for Abigail Spanberger, the original lioness, my spy mommy.
You really did want to just JMO it. You teased it.
I told you.
And
I was like, I'm ready.
Right
it's 5 o'clock here. I'm fucking ready to go.
I was listening to The Watch, and you guys were just trading Mom Donnie jokes back and forth, like in a spirited fashion. And I was like, I guess maybe that's just what The Watch is now. It's just two very gentle men in their 40s thinking about democratic socialism.
We don't even have Apple TV accounts. We don't even know it's on anymore.
I gotta say, not to tread on The Watch's tail at all, but Pluribus, hey, pretty good.
You approve?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I liked
2 thumbs up.
I watched it I watched 2 episodes on Friday. Enjoyed myself. Enjoyed your conversation with Vince Gilligan as well. Nice job.
Thank you for the shout out. That was a breath of fresh air television show. That was like we can still make things in this country, and specifically in Albuquerque.
It was interesting because we talked about Frankenstein last week on the show, and I revisited the postmodern Prometheus episode of The X-Files, because that is, of course, very inspired by Frankenstein. And so I had X-Files on the brain. So it was cool to hear you and Vince talking about that show and his origins there too.
Yeah, he's a really fun guy to go back and sort of watch his career evolve from that early working under Chris Carter era. And then just like even the way his voice is sharpened over the course of Breaking Bad. And Breaking Bad kind of starts and it's a bit of a almost slapstick black comedy in the beginning, and then it obviously becomes this huge tragedy and crime noir over the course of the seasons. But what an amazing guy. Yeah, really, really interesting creative mind.
Yeah, Pluribus, definitely, if you're into films, a lot of cinematic energy, especially in that first episode. A lot of really interesting camera work. Okay, let's talk about some more interesting camera work and another visionary. I'm talking about Ryan Reynolds, who news broke over the weekend that he is eyeing a remake of the 1970 crime movie Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, which starred Clint Eastwood and Jeff Bridges. And when I say Clint Eastwood and Jeff Bridges, my first thought is Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
Is he playing both parts in this remake? What have you heard?
He's doing the Sinners thing. He saw Sinners and he's like, I can do that.
Speaking of Sinners, we learned earlier this year that Michael B. Jordan is remaking the Thomas Crown Affair. He's directing the film, and he's also starring in it. I think the script is going to be by Drew Pearce. I guess this is this the grown-up JMO version of IP now? Where all these big boys in their 40s who have amassed some box office power are just remaking incredibly cool movies made 52 years ago?
It's probably also just like the rights on some of this stuff in the libraries of these film companies are either they're going to expire or they're like, if there's anything here you want to play with, let us know. It's not entirely surprising that Reynolds would gravitate towards this for as much as maybe he's come in for some heat on this pod, and I've been a part of it over the last couple of years. Like, dude made Mississippi Grind a few years ago, which is a movie we have a lot of time for. It has a distinct California split energy. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he enjoyed this kind of movie in his spare time. The question being, is he going to take Michael Cimino's vision of the American West and these two lovable losers like doing heists across what I can't remember where this is set. Like, is it Wyoming or Montana or is it? Doesn't matter.
I'm not sure. I can't recall.
It's the West, and is he going to make this into like a kind of glib digital action farce, or is it going to be something a little bit more human?
You've just reminded me of something. I watched Play Dirty, the Shane Black film. Did you watch this film?
Of course I did. Yeah.
The Mark Wahlberg, Lakeith Stanfield streaming movie that's on Amazon MGM, which is also the studio that Reynolds is working with to potentially remake Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. Thoughts?
Very strange. Another Shane Black movie that I'm not convinced wasn't completely recut on him. Another Shane Black movie where Thomas Jane is only in it for like 10 minutes. The other one being a film we may discuss later in this pod, The Predator.
Yep. Todd Parker?
He's still one of my favorite dialogue writers. So honestly, like even though this movie was pretty inane in places and there's much better adaptations of like the Parker universe over the course of cinematic history, I still had kind of a good time watching this. What did you think?
I thought it was quite poor, but there were things about it that were entertaining.
Yes.
I think I'm having a hard time with Mark Wahlberg at this stage of my life and his. I think it's a little bit harder to. He's just giving the exact same performance in every movie now.
Yeah.
And
well, he's got other concerns. He's got other interests.
What are they?
Breakfast, eating it at 3 a.m, working out 6 times. You know, he plays 18 every morning.
I do know that,
but
yeah.
like runs it. He runs the course. So
I believe he
it's
owns
cardio.
the course. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And just, you know, enjoying life in Nevada. It's been a very long time. When's the last really good Mark Wahlberg, like a film where he gave a crap? Is that Gambler?
Probably.
No, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
It's funny to remember this guy was in like Huckabees and The Fighter, you know?
Well, he really cared about Father Stu. Did you ever check that one out?
Oh, I didn't. No, sorry.
Okay, that's too bad. I believe the first ever Hall of Fame we did was Mark Wahlberg's Hall of Fame for the release of Spencer Confidential. You remember that?
I do remember that. I think I passionately spoke about The Gambler on that podcast.
Deepwater Horizon?
Not bad.
Not bad.
There's a lot of oil platforms off the cliffs of Dover where I was this weekend. I saw some rigs.
Interesting.
I thought about Deepwater Horizon.
It's funny, for Drill Baby Drill CR, that's got to be exciting for you. Did you get a little tingle down below whenever you see an oil rig?
I was really there. I was fact-checking Dunkirk. I just wanted to see what the Straits looked like and whether Loudon and Hardy really could have made some of those moves in the dogfighting sequences, and it turns out that they did.
Did you light any planes on fire at the end of your journey or no?
No, but I offered all the tour guides. I was like, if you want to make me a POW, feel free.
Well, Chris.
You know how crazy that is? On the cliffs of Dover, when you are walking out there and you could see France, your data plan changes to France for a few minutes.
No kidding.
That's how close you get, man. That's how close they were.
And did you immediately begin speaking French? Like, what happened?
Yes,
did you transform in some way?
Well,
Mon ami.
I began speaking Yautja.
Well, thank you for setting us up. Let's talk about Predator Badlands, because it's sweeping the nation. Is it sweeping France and England? Hard to say. You were able to see the film in London, England. How nice for you.
In IMAX at the glorious BFI complex. And if any Big Picture listeners are on vacation here or get a chance to come here, I highly recommend spending the afternoon getting lost there.
The South Bank
fantastic
one?
South Bank one, yeah.
Nice.
And it's just like that whole complex. They're showing like a Frederick Wiseman documentary about Laura Mulvey. They've got libraries, they've got gift shops, they've got so many screens, they've got such good programming. So all BP heads are welcome.
There is an elite collection of Blu-rays and 4Ks on sale at that BFI
they have like
shop.
also like a library system where you can like select a film and go watch it privately, which you know I took advantage of with some of my favorite 70s exploitative films, you know.
So when I was last in London with you, I did go to South Bank, and the film that I saw was Todd Browning's The Unknown. And
Yes,
that film was made in 1924, I believe. And you went to go see 100 years later Predator Badlands, which is kind of related in terms of the Todd Browning cinema, right? Freaks and Dracula. And, you know, you could see something in the connective tissue of genre about monsters. And are they really as evil as we think? Because that is really what Predator Badlands is. It's a story.
Yeah, Predator, heal thyself. That's what
right.
This movie is about.
So this movie comes to us from Dan Trachtenberg. He has become the creative shepherd of the Predator story over recent years. In 2022, he made Prey, which was the last time we spoke about this franchise 3 years ago. And he has been working with Patrick Asen, the screenwriter, to write these stories. And this one is very, very different. It stars Elle Fanning, primarily, essentially the only, you know, human face we see, even though she is not playing a human in the film. And Demetrius Schuster Kolamatanji is is Dek, who is a young predator, a young Yautja.
He's a fail son.
Well, is he? That's what this isn't no Eric Trump movie. You know what I mean? This is a different situation. This is, you know, somebody who might have something to him, but we don't know. He definitely has some shit to him. You know, he definitely has some game, but not like his older brother Quay, and certainly not like his asshole dad. So as you say, the story is about this young outcast predator who lands on a deadly planet. He lands there because he needs to prove to his tribe that he is worthy of Yautja honor and to become a proper predator. And he has to go retrieve a trophy in the form of a giant monster known as a Kalisk. And he lands on this terrifying planet, and he very quickly comes across a droid named Thea, which is just the torso and head and arms of Elle Fanning. And they need to work together to potentially capture this trophy. And that's essentially the whole plot of the movie. What did you think of Predator Badlands?
Really, really good. Really, really, really excellent genre filmmaking. I think I've seen a lot of Predator, fellow Pred heads and fans of like, especially the first two, reject some of the kinder, gentler notions in this film, because this is hilariously, given how much we've talked about this with the horror episodes we've done, this is like a recovering from trauma movie. This is about finding your family. Yep. This is about the Yautja who made me feel it was okay to be weird, like, and it's goofy in that way. And it has a little bit of, I don't know if you would want to call it smarmy, but that like kind of latter day Disney Marvel dialogue. Like, there's a lot of like the jokes are kind of tongue in cheek and a bit Buffy the Vampire Slayer-ish for Predator. But that being said, I thought like all the other Trachtenberg stuff that he's done with this series is, I find it has like a really refreshing energy. Like, he comes at these movies without a lot of stress attached to them with like, okay, how am I going to make this franchise explode, and intricate world building that people need to read a Wikipedia entry to understand. And you need to have seen the cutscene of Prey, and you must have watched Killer of Killers to understand what's going on. Badlands, you don't really need that. Like, I could tell from the crowd that I watched it with, these people who were like, I saw the trailer, the Predator seems like he kicks a lot of ass in this movie. I want to watch it for 2 hours. And that's what you got.
I generally agree. I like this movie a good deal. I wouldn't say I'm in love with it. And there's a part of me, I'm battling myself, and I'm battling the potential of personal hypocrisy by kind of digging into what is and is not a Predator movie. And obviously, Trachtenberg knows more about making a Predator movie than we will ever know in a million years. But there are some things in this movie that feel like they are really the opposite of what we've come to expect from these kinds of films. And yet, like, I think you can accept it on its own terms. I did send you a note a couple weeks ago, and I said, ooh, this movie is rated PG-13. That seems not ideal. This is one of the signature violent action franchises of the last 40 years. And the first film in particular is an absolute masterclass in severe action filmmaking.
First two, really. I mean, the second one, while coked out of its mind in Los Angeles, still has a lot of incredible gore.
Yes, very, very violent. And so I had a little bit of concern around that. And then I saw someone compare this to The Mandalorian before I saw the movie, and I got a little nervous.
Yes.
And it turns out that there definitely are some shades of the kind of Disneyfication of Fox properties going on here. But I generally found it pretty sweet and inoffensive, those aspects of it. And rather than The Mandalorian, what this movie made me think of in terms of the relationships, not just between the droid and the Yautja, but also this little guy, Bud, this little character, this little kind of monkey hybrid figure who comes into the movie. It reminded me a little bit more of Luke Skywalker and R2-D2 and C-3PO, which is a more acceptable version of the like cranky companion adventure sci-fi movie. And we don't get a lot of adventure sci-fi movies these days.
I honestly welcome, I welcome and acknowledge that it's hypocritical to sort of be fine with this movie and so angry in the newspaper about Alien Earth and about like, there are certain franchises, I think this is pretty common for film fans, is like there are certain things you're very protective and you know, you're like you're originalist about, and you're like, no, actually, Weyland-Yutani Corporation did this in this year, so you can't do that next.
I did hear you say that a couple times.
100 times during Alien Earth. I was so mad. And then this time I was just like, oh yeah, it's okay that the Predator is basically like Lloyd Dobler from Say Anything, and he's just trying to figure it out. Like, I just had a much like looser kind of relationship to this. And I dig Predator movies, but do not think deeply about the Yautja and their code and where they've spread their hunts and all that stuff. Like, I really like these. I think I was almost pleasantly reminded of like an older version of franchise films, like almost not the same, but like an old Bond movie where they just kind of like soft reset every film. And I'm like, maybe that's better. Maybe this is a better way to watch what we're on the 9th Predator movie. You know, maybe this is where Alien should go, where it's like, rather than trying to solve the mysteries of the universe or explain the mythology behind things, it's just like, can you scare me for 2 hours? Can you thrill me for 2 hours?
You know, I had a very similar thought that the low leverage in terms of the lore around this series is very helpful for enjoying this movie. But then, unlike a James Bond movie, what's been really interesting about what Trachtenberg has done with these last 3 movies is this: he has radically shifted the primary perspective of each movie. They're all set in different times. In the case of Killer of Killers, across multiple periods of time. And this is the first one. It's really notable because this is the first one that's really through the eyes of a predator. It's not. We've not had a movie in which they are the sympathetic protagonist.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bold choice because of the viciousness with which they kill. I guess the movie works in part because this is an unproven predator, right? It's a Yautja who is younger, smaller, you know, who is the runt of the litter. And so it's a lot easier to get on their side, despite the fact that they are brutal in the way that they attempt to pursue the mission that this character goes on.
This movie works because of Elle Fanning.
Well, go speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought, you know, I really was taken with and enjoyed the like dad beheading his son for being a cuck early, you know, the 20-minute pre-title sequence of this movie. But it really kind of comes to life when he comes across Elle Fanning strapped to a thorny bush somewhere in the middle of this wasteland, and becomes his backpack. I noticed that the film, its code name when they were shooting it was Backpacker, I think. And it's just kind of an ingenious pairing of an absolutely brutal killing machine with a fairly charming piece of technology sitting on its back, kind of making conversation. And I've seen people say that, like, well, the reason why this works is because Elle Fanning's character is curious. Like, she's asking the predator questions that maybe a general audience member might want to ask. Like, well, how do you decide what to kill? Or like, do you have to eat? And do you have to sleep? And what are you doing? These kinds of things are a very helpful storytelling device or movie exposition device.
It is convenient / smart that she is also a droid who specializes in these other creatures. And in fact, she understands Yautja and the language. And, you know, there was no predator language prior to this movie. I read that they created this language, the same person who created the language of the Na'vi in Avatar, which is a film you haven't seen. And there's a very sophisticated language in that film as there is in this film. How did you feel good about the Yautja talking?
They talk about it the way I would figure they talked, you know, like kind of a translated samurai sort of language, right?
Sure.
I thought that the deck got funnier over the course of the movie, and I couldn't figure out where that was coming from. Like, Deck had some bits, you know, and especially when Bud shows up, he starts to get like some sort of buddy cop energy going with him. So I don't know if that's something that a predator is like doing a quick 10 minutes at the Comedy Store. I'd like to see it. Maybe Dan Trachtenberg can do it. Is this thing on for Deck next?
That would mean
he
that
just gets
Deck
up
is divorced
stage.
at this point, you think?
Yeah,
he has
Deck's
to get divorced.
divorced.
Okay.
He like, yeah. Thea leaves him and he's just like, you know, I'm going through a lot.
I'm thinking of all the permutations. What about Deck in like a Home Improvement style sitcom show where he's got 3 little Decks running around and he's got a wife Deck who's like, I don't know, Deck. Seems like you're going to be in big trouble this time. Or like, have you been at the bar all night, Deck?
Would you greenlight for The Ringer, Deck straight to camera like Tim Dillon just going through the news? Just being like, this is why they don't tell you.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Elle Fanning, who you mentioned, plays this droid, and she also plays another droid, a droid that she identifies in the film as her sister, and has a very different energy than the character she's portraying opposite the Yautja. What's your relationship to her as an actor? Interesting time for her.
Pretty delighted by her.
She's wonderful.
And I think she actually just makes really nice, really cool choices. I've been a fan since Neon Demon.
Interesting.
And she's fantastic in The Great. which is sort of her signature role, I guess, a TV show on Hulu. But I find that, like, I know she's got a big year with sentimental value. So it's like, she's just is one of those people that I think is like, I'm not really trying to be the third person in Ant-Man. I'd like to just work with interesting filmmakers. I honestly, between her and Dakota, I'm sure life's pretty good. They don't have to like scratch out rent money. And
you
she
make it sound like
just,
they are like relying on each other financially. You think that they share a bank account?
Like the Morris twins. Remember the Morris twins got paid like 40 and it was like, it's just up to you guys.
You guys split it up. Depending on who averages 8.2 rebounds a game and 6.6 rebounds a game.
Do you think they left some money on the table here by not having Elle play Tessa in this movie? Or have Dakota play
Dakota
Tessa?
play Tessa.
Yeah.
No, because I think they needed the consistency of all
twins.
of the female droids looking the same and all the male droids looking the same. That was consistent. We do see a lot of male droids get their heads absolutely blown off. Classic Stormtrooper situation with those male droids.
Yes.
Those guys really just totally incompetent. Like they have no idea what they're doing. They really did suck.
Yeah. They got beat by a pair of legs. Yeah.
Pretty sad. I really enjoyed that. There's a series of great set pieces in that film. That's one of the best ones near the end of the film where we do find eventually Thea's legs, and those legs have a mind of their own and they're put into action to help Deck and Bud and Thea attempt to overwhelm the other side. But there's a lot of unsurprising, if you watched Prey, you could see Trachtenberg has an incredible mind for these kind of action set pieces. I just watched some of Prey over the weekend, and even just that sequence where Amber Midthunder's character is watching the Predator battle the bear, which is just crazy. This one also has the sort of snapping tree vines in the very early sequences of the film who come back later on. We see the razor sharp blades of grass. There's a series of like ideas in the Badlands that make this fun. I before Thea showed up, I did have some concerns that this was going to be like video game cutscene energy the whole time, where there's not like a single living thing on screen.
If it had just been Predators being like, "Father, give me the cloak," I would have just been like, "All right, man, like this is." But I think it just gets a little bit more charming. And then for men of a certain age, the introduction of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation is meaningful. Like it's popped up before. Obviously, there's the Alien vs. Predator movies. Lance Henriksen plays Charles Weyland in one of those movies, although they don't make a huge deal about.
I believe it's the first Alien vs. Predator movie.
Yes. Right. And I think there's an alien at the end of Predator 2. Shane Black had designs on expanding the universe and stuff like that. These two franchises are both Fox Disney properties. So there can be pretty easy integration. I would be the first person to be like, get this shit out of here. I thought it kind of worked. And the thing I think I'm most charmed by after spending close to 2 months discussing the stewardship of the Alien franchise with Alien Earth is the idea of Trachtenberg taking over both.
Right. Which is very interesting because we both were, I think this is similar to Alien Romulus, where we were fans of that movie with some reservations. It's a fun time at the movies that doesn't necessarily feel like it is entirely violating what's very special to us about Alien and Predator and Aliens and all the great installments of those films. It's slightly lesser than. It's never, it is IP management for decades post-haste, but there is something, when you have a very competent and creative filmmaker in charge of the properties, it's that much more exciting. I thought Alvarez was really good at the haunted house stuff in Romulus. I think Trachtenberg is really good at scaled action, which is something that is really necessary for Predator. I'm a little bit torn on the long term of this. Part of what was really effective to me about the Weyland-Yutani stuff is that they just operate in the same way that they do in the Alien films, which is that they are a corporation in search of powerful technology to take over the world.
Bioweapons,
Yeah, that's pretty much all that they do. And that is, I think, a fairly coherent big bad for any sci-fi movie. And they map quite neatly onto this world. The same way that, honestly, they did in the Alien versus Predator movies. The problem is that those movies are really poorly made and they're not well written. But the idea of them and the idea of those two creatures coming into each other's paths is kind of logical, right?
And that some earthbound company would have the hubris to think that you can master that you can pull something out of these things that would be of value. Yeah.
What do you think about a movie with no humans?
I suppose this movie did a pretty good job about as good as you can do in that scenario. I'm not a fan, as you know. I mean, like, it's hard enough for me to sort of stay locked in on animation, much less a film that's largely about like other creatures talking to each other. They obviously anthropomorphize the hell out of a lot of these things. And so they have a lot of sort of Disney charm and Disney humor. Even the snapping tree branches kind of have like this amusement park, Tower of Terror kind of vibe to it. And especially the Bud character gets Grogu'd, even though it is supposed to be a galaxy champion killing machine's son.
Yeah. It's tricky. I think obviously they've created this very smart solve by having the droid at the center of the movie, casting an actor who has just a ton of charm and a ton of personality in Elle Fanning. But there were times where I was like, we're in the schmear. We are in the thing that I talk about on the show from time to time that I think held me back from being like a full-blown major advocate for this movie.
I think it's gonna happen to everybody with a different movie where you're watching, and it's just like some days you just hit the lottery, or you just hit in that slot where you're like, I saw this at like 12:30 on IMAX. I was like, this is really a pretty fun experience. If I had watched this on like a 42-inch screen, I think I would have turned it off midway. There was something like very enveloping about the landscapes, albeit obviously CGI augmented. The sound, the music was pretty good. I found the story pretty compelling. The mirroring of Dutch's sort of learning how to beat the Predator in the first film, with the Predator learning like, oh, here are all the different things that I have encountered across my journey that I will bring together: the exploding berries, the dart throwing eels, the razor glass, like you said. It was just like a nice touch, but none of that felt too heavy handed. Like, oh, we really must honor to the Predator. I completely understand if you were like, this movie doesn't count unless a man gets his chest excavated by another alien. And like, I'm the guy who rewatches Bill Duke and Jesse Ventura scenes when I want to get hyped up. Like, I get it. I see you.
When you want to get hyped up to go do what?
Just do a pod with you, man.
Yeah. That's what you do. I ain't got time to bleed. I have to pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I generally agree with you. I was thinking about what sci-fi action is in 2025, because this week we've got The Running Man coming out starring Glenn Powell, the rare dystopian action movie. That's something that used to happen all the time when we were growing up, and now is less and less common. There have been some really big sci-fi movies this year, though. We did an entire episode about The Electric State, which was a deeply unfortunate Russo brothers directed Netflix production.
Yeah.
Megan 2.0. One of the least successful, most talked about failures at the box office this year. Also, attempting to recreate some of the energy of Terminator 2. Mickey 17, the Bong Joon-ho film, which also did not do very well. Jurassic World Rebirth, which I thought was a dog baby of a movie. And
that was another good example of like, I should hate this, but I was not offended.
I wouldn't say I was offended, but I could have used my time better.
You seemed pretty offended.
Maybe I was
scandalized.
I was a little offended.
28 years later, another example.
Yeah, that horror sci-fi blend. But yeah, there's the virus aspect of it for sure. There is Killer of Killers. Did you watch Killer of Killers?
You sure did.
So, you're on the record. You're not a big fan of animation. You've been creeping towards, I guess, adult animation. And by that, I mean pornography over the last few years.
You know what my relationship to animation is now? It's like the dude who only listens to Jason Isbell. And he's like, have you heard this? This is really solid. So that's like, I'll watch Blue-Eyed Samurai and be like, these guys can really draw. Yeah. What a compelling tale.
You watched Scavenger's Reign, right?
Yeah.
That was a cool show. Killer of Killers is more in that vein. And Killer of Killers was really interesting to me too, because we're in the midst of this big anime wave. Killer of Killers is not an anime film per se, but there is some influence there for sure. And Trachtenberg also directed that movie, which I think is really cool. I think
it's pretty. I wonder. I was going to ask you, how would you have felt if Badlands had been the animated movie and they had tried to make Killer of Killers as the live action?
I mean, I would have loved to have seen the live action of Killer of Killers, but it would have been extremely expensive because it's 4 different stories across history where real life
Viking, samurai, World War II, and then a team up at the end.
Yes,
right?
The battle at the end, and you'd have to do the 9th century, the 17th century, and the 20th century. But man, I just purely in terms of the design of the action sequences, the battle sequences, really, really cool stuff. And a movie that just...
I love the Viking chick's blades shield that she uses.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Incredible creativity and just a clever idea for the use of the Predator character, and one that doesn't really develop the character of the Predator, that just kind of lets it be a killing machine, which made it a lot of fun. People haven't seen that, they should check it out on Hulu. But just thinking about that movie a little bit, it did have me thinking about something that happened with the Predator series, because this movie made $40 million over the weekend. This is one of the biggest hits of the fall now. You could probably tell that was going to happen a couple of months ago for a few reasons. One, especially, The Running Man was supposed to come out on November 7th, and it moved a week. And it moved off of the date the Predator had landed on. And it was like, I don't know if I want to mess with this. And so the movie does very well. And that, I think there's something going on here that feels like the inversion of what has become commonly accepted wisdom. So Knives Out came out in 2019. And after it came out, Rian Johnson signs this deal with Netflix to do the next 2 films. Now, thinking is very clear. It's like, that movie was a box office hit. It's an established brand. Now we can make it a streaming property. And that did work, clearly. Glass Onion clearly drove a lot of views. He got an Academy Award nomination. Wake Up Dead Man is coming out later this year. I feel like the opposite was true for Predator, where Prey and Killer of Killers reseeded the land in terms of Predator interest and got more and more people kind of hyped up for what a Predator movie could be. Prey was one of the first movies I remember people being like, God damn it, put this in fucking movie theaters. I'm sure I said it on the episode we did.
And also was that post-COVID, like Fox was like doing that with some streaming stuff, right? Like there was that thriller set in the like Park Ranger building that we really liked. Was that, I can't remember. I can't even remember what it was called now.
Right. So the movie you're talking about is called No Exit.
That's right.
Which was a crafty little thriller about a bunch of people who are all trapped in a cabin with a criminal. And they've done this a few times. You know, Deep Water went straight to streaming. Prey went straight to streaming. You know, Barbarian could have gone straight to streaming. I'm very thankful that it did not, but the same studio. Rosaline went straight to streaming with Caitlin Dever. The White Man Can't Jump remake. No One Will Save You 2 years ago. Another Caitlin Dever film, the sci-fi movie, which was very good.
I remember that.
And so this is part of the studio strategy, is to kind of keep bouncing back and forth. They release Romulus in theaters, they release The Amateur in theaters, but Killer of Killers goes on streaming. They just released Swiped on Hulu. Did you see Swiped?
No, is it dating horror or is it just like a rom-com?
No, it's a biopic about Whitney Wolfe Herd, the founder of Bumble, starring Lily James.
Oh, I've seen ads for it.
So kind of a dating horror movie in a way. How's your Bumble account looking?
Well, it's also just so funny that you're like swipes and I'm like, so she swipes right and the guy's a killer, right? Like, I just need to maybe take some air.
Swiped right to hell. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle also just came out straight to streaming, the remake of that movie. So it's like, this is what 20th Century Studios does.
Some of these things I think have like legs to be franchises, and some are kind of interesting, just gambits of like, this would be a programmer. This would be, to quote Bill Simmons' dad, a 5 o'clocker. You know, the kind of like, it's Thursday, I'm on my way home from work, don't feel like going there yet, let me stop at the movies, what's on kind of thing. Now that is streaming. Now that is when you go home and you're just like, I'll just fire up Netflix or Hulu and see if they've got anything new. One thing I wanted to talk to you about is something that I think is becoming pretty common with these franchises is the use of essentially a television writer's room. Now, I don't have any like deep reporting on this. I gleaned this from the internet, but I've heard about it with other big franchises, especially Disney ones, where they get 5 or 6 pretty talented screenwriters in a room just to whiteboard, blue sky it. Let's talk about like where this could go, what this should do, what if this happened. On Predator Badlands, at least there was reporting and there was WGA like kind of, you know, extra literary credit given to Brian Fuller, who's probably best known for TV work like Pushing Daisies and Hannibal. Patrick Somerville, who did Station 11, obviously. And I believe Brian Duffield, who wrote a movie that we're really big fans of, or I am, Underwater.
Yeah. He wrote and directed No One Will Save You, Brian Duffield. Right.
And I don't know if those guys are just like sounding boards for Trachtenberg and Azin to be like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Or how would we do this? But it's an interesting inversion of the development process, or maybe it's something that Disney feels very confident in doing because of the way that they've made Marvel movies over the years. But, you know, with Chris Storer and Aaron Sorkin had extra literary credit on F1. This is something that I think is a little bit more common than we realize. And maybe it helps for something like Predator come up with a bunch of different takes on something like this that is essentially like, I want to see the Predator kill some things, but like what we do around it is not that important.
I think it's incredibly logical for this kind of material management of, you know, I think it's not ideal when it's a movie that is meant to be.
Yeah, you don't need it for Tar.
Right. An original story that's like character driven and meant to be from an auteur. Like that you don't want to hear that 9 guys had to get into a room to say, here's how to improve your movie. But when you're talking about managing the next phase of a Predator movie, this has been happening for 100 years in Hollywood. There's an entire scene in Mank that's just 9 guys who went to Yale talking about how to make a Frankenstein movie. You know, like this is and being absolutely hammered. And those guys were all geniuses, and they were talking about like the same sort of low rent monster material that Predator could be. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's honestly probably a good idea. If this was if these were the great works, maybe you'd have a slightly different feeling about it. But I guess the idea of it being more public is kind of interesting. This is something that has historically gone on behind the scenes. You know, back in our days writing about rap, you would always hear about ghostwriters. There would always be like, oh my God, did you know that Jay-Z wrote half of 2001? Like, isn't that so crazy? And these things were they became mythological over time. But I think for guys like you and me, it should be public.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, but we're big fans of like the hidden lore of PTA wrote Killers of the Flower Moon kind of stuff.
But it took less than a year and a half for that to become not hidden anymore. That's sort of the point.
That's true.
Is like nothing can really stay quiet in that way. I remember the first time I told you this, the first time that someone called me and they were like, PTA wrote Killers of the Flower Moon. I know it. I'm looking at the screenplay. I was like, that makes all the sense in the world. When you go back and watch that movie, and the fact that it did actually trickle out that he worked on that and that he wrote Napoleon, parts of Napoleon at least, that makes me appreciate the movies more. It makes me understand the movies more. I don't have, you know, the idea of Patrick Somerville being able to like contribute to Bud's energy in Predator Badlands. I'm about it. That's cool.
Yeah, and your Mank analogy is very good. It is like 9 guys being like, this wrestler needs an orphan that he's taking care of because we need people to care about the outcome of this. I mean, I had high hopes. I know we're going to talk about those sort of other films in this franchise. High hopes for the Shane Black version of this. It seemed like something in my mind was tailor-made for him, and that he would obviously, since he appeared in the first one, and I think maybe did some uncredited work on it, was going to be a perfect union of like writer, director, and franchise, but that obviously didn't work out. Do you feel like Trachtenberg's staying on this, and I think he's going to make another Predator movie with the success of this one? I think he could make probably as many as he wants. Is this a waste of his talents, or is this a good use of his talents? It doesn't have to be a binary, I know.
It's a really interesting question, because the only other film that he's directed that is outside of this franchise is 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is a damn good thriller. And that's a movie that used the Cloverfield brand to kind of get through the door. But if it had nothing to do with Cloverfield, it still would have been tremendously effective. So you can tell that there's something... He could probably do a lot of different kinds of genre storytelling. And we need guys and women like that making these kinds of movies. Him being in Predator mode for 15 years is a little depressing to me.
Sure.
However, I would rather someone talented be making these movies if they're going to get made than someone who is less talented. And we saw, like in Alien versus Predator, we saw like, you got to be careful who you give these characters to, because you can kind of torpedo the whole thing if it's not a steady pair of hands.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to make a large-scale action film about a Comanche woman in the 18th century or whenever Prey is set. I can't remember, but it's like that you're going to have a Predator show up in that movie for it to be economically feasible for something like Disney or Fox to get to work with.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I think, to me, it would be nice to be able to have both. It would be nice if Trachtenberg's next movie was a scaled-down $25 million thriller, and we could see if it's commercial and it could be a studio movie, or we could see if it's going to be something a little bit smaller that has to go to streaming, and then he can mount a $150 million Alien Predator movie. Can you handle an Alien Predator movie in 2028 if that's announced?
If he's doing it, yes. And I think weirdly, like, audiences have now arrived at the fact that they would actually enjoy that. Whereas when those Alien versus Predator movies came out, I just remember that being like, this is used bin stuff. Like, this is pretty cut rate movie making, with no disrespect to the people involved. And I didn't take them very seriously. He is obviously, with all the Whalen stuff, with the fact that Ridley Scott's getting on years, the Alien franchise is, tussled over, but will belong to Fox long after some of these figureheads are no longer working on them. You could very easily transition over to this. And I think the direction these things are going is going to be more stuff, throw it against the wall, see what works, see which way we want to go, rather than we're banking 15 years and it's like, whoops, we got Jonathan Majors on our hands or something. Like, you have to kind of be nimble. And so I think that I could very much see Trachtenberg taking a bigger role in the Alien stuff. Does that mean I want to see Ripley in it? No, but
yeah. Do you think that these movies can continue to successfully be one-offs? That, like, it doesn't really matter what came before. That's an interesting journey. I have been wondering. This is probably not.
I don't ever want to see a trailer for a Predator movie that says the epic conclusion of the decade-long saga. I just don't care. I don't want it to feel like Fire and Ash or Return of the King ever. Like, I want it to just always be like, what if we put the Predator
Chris,
in...
Fire and Ash is the third in a planned 5-film series.
But he said he's not going to, he's giving up. He knows. He's like, I can't keep making these.
Who's giving up?
Jim.
He'll never give up.
Yeah, he is, man. He's like, if people don't see
Fire and Ash... He never agreed to make those films officially.
CR is out there pounding the pavement, asking people what they're doing with their lives. Maybe I should go make something else,
I'm pleased to announce right here on this podcast, roughly an hour into our discussion, that on December 2nd, we'll be recording an audio commentary live watching Avatar: The Way of Water. So we have to ask you right now, will you be watching the first Avatar film before you record that commentary with us?
What do you think would be better for the pod?
I think there would be a lot of explaining necessary.
I don't know
if you haven't seen the first one.
Enjoy it if both me and Amanda are like, what's this? Who's that?
I'll firmly agree with that. Amanda has seen The Way of Water, though. So I don't know. What questions should she be asking?
Do you think she retained a lot of it, though? Like, do you think it's like still like right at her fingertips?
Yeah. I mean, she learned about the Na'vi when she was studying the classics back in college.
True.
So
that's true.
I just think she's going to hold on to that for a long time. I'm very interested in where they take this. I think this movie was a fun time at the movies. And I also, as all, middle-aged dudes who grew up obsessed with Alien, as soon as the words Weyland-Yutani were uttered, I was like, don't screw this up, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
And
did you like the loader, the mech loader? 2
CGI.
Okay.
Part of the magic of Aliens is that all of that is practical and feels real. And the movie does slip into a big conclusion with a big CGI monster and a CGI power loader and Bud and all of these. There's just a lot of stuff on screen that I find a little bit disorienting. But when we are on the ground with the actor playing Deck and Elle Fanning, that stuff is really cool to me. Where this stacks up is interesting in terms of ranking these films. Because we did do this last time, and I actually don't know where we landed, and I'm not going to look because I don't want to have to. I just want to go off the vibe of seeing this movie and seeing how it connects to the other films. Now, it's safe to say that the first film is still the best film, right?
Yes, goated.
The first film is a 5-star masterpiece.
Yes.
One of the leanest, meanest, just one of the greatest achievements in action filmmaking, John McTiernan.
And one of the most searing portraits of American military intervention in the Southern Hemisphere, When
you were talking about how you sometimes watch those scenes to get fired up, you think Hegseth does that as well before he gives a big speech?
For his calf exercises? Yeah.
Oh, boy. Would you leave the Ringer to go work at the DOD? Do you think
me and Pete Hegseth have the same letterbox top 4? That would be really fucked up.
Let me see if I can guess it. So Predator, obviously, Sergeant York, Lone Survivor, and An American Tail. Five Goes West.
He doesn't like Lone Survivor because we lost.
It's all about winning. It's all about winning. Predator is the best film in this franchise. by a pretty wide margin, even though I think there are some very good movies here. Now, what comes next? I don't remember what came next last time. I think there's going to be a nostalgic contingent for Predator 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a hipster action contingent for Prey.
Yes, neither of those are my number 2.
Are you going to say Predators?
I am going to say that.
That's a very bold take.
Yeah.
Now, I like Predators. Nimrod Antal's story about like a prison camp, like a space prison that is crash lands.
It's a bunch of mercenaries and criminals are marooned on like what is essentially a giant hunting ground planet. A game warden.
This is probably Hegseth's favorite as well, when you think about it. It's kind of got a similar training ops
This features like a bonkers cast of Adrian Brody, Walton Goggins, Mahershala Ali, Lawrence Fishburne, and Topher Grace. This is funny because like I think that we should go one of these days is most stacked cast movies or most random stacked cast movies. Because you know what might be like the clubhouse leader of that I was just watching the other night?
What's
Hostels.
That? Oh, yeah, Hostels. Yeah.
Hostels has a crazy... Chalamet is like the 9th dude in Hostels.
Yeah, you really are holding that Cooper stock. You will, even after the bombing of Springsteen, you're not letting go.
Badlands. You know it's still ringing around in your heads.
I know. Badlands, what a jam that song is. Predators is really cool. I haven't revisited it. I did see it in theaters and I was like, this is what the world needs right now. We need to let mercenaries get hunted. Yes. You know, it's very clearly a riff on The Most Dangerous Game. It's like a clever movie, but kind of a dumb movie at the same time.
Yeah.
I really wish I could have rewatched this before I agreed to let you put this at 2.
Fishburne basically is what Elle Fanning is in this Badlands film, where it's like, for a long time, you're like, this is pretty cool, but like they are really holding the reins tight on this cast who are just like look at each other and be like, brother, don't get my 6, don't follow me, you know, whatever. And then Fishburne shows up and he's just like, welcome to the Continental, you know, like he's really hamming it up.
But he's been living there for years, right? Isn't that the reveal that he's
made it through several tours and is like living in a bombed out spaceship somewhere.
How do you think you'd do face to face with a Yautja? You think you'd be able to hang?
No, I mean, not after watching Killer of Killers. It just seems like everybody who tries to reason with the Yautja gets put in cryosleep or beheaded.
But you have the secret sauce of, you could do impressions. You could do funny bits.
Sure.
You could be like, she's got a great ass. And then the Yautja would be completely neutralized. You putting Predators at 2 is kind of crazy, but I'm going to do it.
What's the alternative? Prey? Predator 2?
I think Prey is probably the best made. I think Predator 2 is probably the most satisfying because it's just so crazy.
The third way.
Think
about
like Mom Donnie.
Yeah.
Okay. Predators. Prey or Predator 2? That's the big question.
Inside of Me are Two Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
I think I will rewatch over the course of my life Predator 2 more than I rewatch Prey, but acknowledge that Prey is a more watertight movie.
This is what's going to happen. It's going to be 2052.
Yeah.
You're going to be into your 70s. You're going to be living on a sky planet somewhere. And I'm
like Postlethwaite in Inception. You know?
I'm gonna buzz you on the video phone. You're gonna pick up. You're gonna be in your smoking jacket.
Yeah.
You got a pipe in your mouth. It's full of Zin. And you've got a 360-degree screen in your study.
What the purpose of Zin is. Yeah.
And you're watching Predator 2.
Yeah.
And you're like, Sean, it's nice to hear from you. It's been some years. I just wanted you to know that when we had our Predators conversation, I was true to my word. I've revisited Predator 2 38 times since we last spoke of these films. And
we haven't talked. So this version of this
is our last conversation.
This is our last conversation.
But you at least will be doing the work with Predator 2. You'll be logging it several times over the next couple of decades.
I'll do you one better. It's going to be the same thing. You've gone through on your oft-made promise that you're just going to abandon city living.
That's right.
You're
We
living
dead.
in Zihuatanejo working on a boat, and I show up one day. I take off my hat. I have a full head of hair, you know, and I'll be like, just wanted to let you know, Predator 2 won 32-15 over Prey. And I drop dead right in front of you.
I'll bury you at sea. It'll be perfect. Oh God, that's gonna be beautiful. I'll be putting the whole thing on TikTok, by the way, when that happens. Just 20 seconds at a time, the burial at sea. It'll be like when they buried Megatron at sea in the Transformers films. Okay. Predator 2 at number 3.
Yeah.
And Prey at 4.
Okay.
Wow.
I got Badlands at 5.
This is like incredibly unwoke of you, this whole list. This is
No, the unwoke version would be if I put the Predator at 2, which I won't do.
Oh, well, that would be truly unwoke. Okay, Prey. God.
No, I was just going to Prey is, I think, a more like solid film than Predator 2, but Predator 2 just has Busey and Paxton. And so just by thus needs to be higher.
How do you feel about all the Rastafarianism in Predator 2? You think it works?
Was that your introduction to Rastafarian?
It honestly
culture?
Probably was.
It really was. That and Steven Seagal.
I mean, that movie came out in
guys.
1990, so I was 8. I probably saw it when I was 9 on cable.
Yeah.
The cinema of Stephen Hopkins, we don't talk about it enough. You know about Stephen Hopkins' work?
Did he do Cliffhanger or was that Rennie Harlan?
No, that's Rennie Harlan. How dare you? Come on. Stephen Hopkins, let's talk through his filmography. First of all, the movie he made before Predator 2 is Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, which just came up in our 1989 movie draft. He followed up Predator 2 with Judgment Night, which features a remarkable soundtrack and is a dog shit movie. 1994, Blown Away. Now that's a picture. That's a quality film.
Incredible accents in that film. One of Bill's favorite movies.
Boston movie?
He hates that movie.
Jeff Bridges, Tommy Lee Jones, Forrest Whitaker. Right after that, Ghost in the Darkness. Honestly, a fiasco. Should have been the coolest movie of all time. Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer go on a lion hunting expedition in Africa in order so they can build trains. And it's kind of boring, unfortunately. 1998, Lost in Space. It's pretty much over from here. Do you remember the Lost in Space remake?
I do. Yes. This was a horrendous. I mean, it seemed like they couldn't build a jail that could hold Stephen Hopkins in there, a director's jail, but then he found it.
How many of the 2, 4, 6 primary cast members of Lost in Space, how many of them can you name?
Well, oh no, you know what? I got confused between Lost in Space and Galaxy Quest because I was going to say Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver.
No, Galaxy Quest,
right?
Wonderful movie.
Okay.
Lost in Space.
I don't know anybody in
You
Lost
can't
in
name
Space.
a single there's a very famous TV actor. This was one of his first big film roles in the late 90s.
Is it David Caruso?
It's not. No, David Caruso, come on. He'd been in King of New York. Come on.
Yes.
This guy starred on the film Friends.
Schwimmer?
No. Oh my God. What are you doing?
Who is it? Is it Perry?
Matt LeBlanc.
Oh, is it LeBlanc's big screen debut?
Well, I think that was Ed, the monkey baseball movie. Have you seen that film?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, the cast of this movie is deranged. Gary Oldman, William Hurt, Mimi Rogers, Heather Graham, and Lacey Chabert in her feature film debut.
See, this is why we have to do Statcast movie podcast.
I mean, that is
episode.
That's battling with Predators for sick cast. Yeah. Okay, we got Prey at 4. We got Predator Badlands at 5.
You agree with that? Killer of Killers or Badlands?
There's like dead even to me. There's like a limitation on how great Killer of Killers can be to me because of its filmmaking style, but it is more satisfying as a Predator movie for my taste. So it's like they're almost tied at 5.
Yeah, Killer of Killers would have been like NC-17 if it had been live action. Yeah. There's a lot of hurtling blood. Would you consider getting into anime with me? I would, but I do feel like we're reaching the limits of the amount of things that I can get into as a man. Wow.
Interesting. What are some of your other hobbies?
And I also don't want it to be like old guy tries to get into anime to relate to people, or to stay relevant.
Well, but this is the work. I mean, this is not, you're not getting into it to relate to 14-year-olds. Like, that's a little creepy. You're doing it so that 14-year-olds will listen to your deep thoughts.
But they're not going to want to listen to me on Chainsaw Man. You know what I mean? They want to hear me about degrading, depraved men in the 70s, hustling. Like, that's what they want.
I disagree. I honestly, I think the listeners are at least curious about my thoughts about Chainsaw Man. And I will share them. It was really, really fun. And I enjoyed myself. I found it to be largely incoherent. I was not aware of the fact that it was basically Before Sunrise meets Killer of Killers.
Okay.
But that's what it is. The first 40 minutes of Chainsaw Man, Reza arc, is like basically a romantic comedy or like a romantic dramedy. It's kind of 500 Days of Summer
just, like,
meets
walking around. Okay.
A guy with chainsaw head and chainsaw arms battling a girl who he's fallen in love with, who is secretly the bomb devil, meaning she's a devil that is terrorizing him, and she is working for an even more powerful devil source. And she's made of bombs. So like, if you get close to her, she's like, boom, you're
explodes.
dead.
Yeah.
That just keeps happening over and over again.
Yeah.
She's the real killer of killers. She's extraordinary. Chainsaw Man, I thought pretty fun. And I want you to come on the journey with me.
Well, I mean, they print money now. Like, pretty soon it's going to be like, Black Bag will be like something that you can maybe rent as like a 2-minute video on your phone, and we'll just all be going to see animes.
Yeah, we're going to have to put you in the Let's Get You to Bed grandma meme when you explain Thunderbolt and Lightfoot to the listeners of this podcast. Okay, Killer of Killers at number 6. That means, okay, so the Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predator Requiem are terrible. The Predator is also terrible. The Predator has been dramatically recut.
Yes.
To become incoherent. And there also was some scandal during the production of the film. It's kind of hard to rate the Predator highly. It's more enjoyable to watch for me.
The first half of the Predator, where it's like the PTSD soldiers led by Boyd Holbrook, and then they team up with Olivia Munn's. I think she's like a scientist.
Dr. Christmas Jones situation going on there. But
when it pivots in the middle and it becomes about her son played by Jacob Tremblay, who's autistic, and that's why the Predators want his DNA. That's where it starts to go off the rails. And then the end, it makes zero sense.
You did a good job remembering that. I forgot Sterling K. Brown is in this film as well.
Yes.
Why did Sterling K. Brown not become a big action star?
I don't know, but he's still doing great. He's killing it.
He's in Paradise, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch House of Dynamite?
Not yet.
What's your story, man?
I'm sorry, dude. It's not like I'm not doing the work over here. I was at the Night of the Juggler screening. Like, I'm here for cinema.
That? How did that go?
It was so great. It was so awesome.
I was so jealous to not be there.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to see it if they haven't seen that film before. It's like a really like legitimately like, you were talking about like sometimes you'll watch like a 70s crime film and you'll be like, I dig it, but this is not actually like a film that needed to be excavated from the annals. This was like an excellent movie. I hope people check it out.
Yeah, that's a movie that for years had been on the cult list of you got to see it. And I think I first saw it on YouTube because I had read enough people talking about it. I think it had played the New Bev a couple times, but it has been fully restored now. And there's this great transmission radiance release in the US. There's a Kino Lorber 4K as well available. So there's a number of ways to check it out. They should just drop a Predator in the middle of that movie and remake it. Maybe that's Trachtenberg's next movie is like 1980s New York.
Dog Day Predator.
That would be sick. Honestly,
Predator versus Serpico.
James Brolin is still alive.
Yeah.
Should we get him back out there?
Sure.
As Detective Sean Boyd?
Yeah.
What if we were like Alien versus Predator Requiem is way better than Alien versus
I just
Predator?
can't do it. I don't
So you want to
have
do the Predator and then the two Paul W.S. Anderson movies?
That's my personal feeling. And it's like there's too much good Shane Black dialogue in the Predator for me to rate it below either of the Alien versus Predator movies. I'll be completely honest with you. Which one takes place in Antarctica?
That's the first one, Alien versus Predator.
And is there another one that's in Colorado, right?
I guess that's Requiem.
I think Requiem is set in Colorado, and it's like, I don't quite understand the relationship of the Predators to the aliens. They seem to be like basically protecting humans because if the aliens get loose in America, like they will lose their fertile hunting ground. That's, I think, kind of what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute since I've rewatched these, though.
I forgot to bring up something else in our news segment that is related to all of this, which is that there was an announcement last week that Gremlins 3 is happening, written and directed by Chris Columbus, who of course wrote the original Gremlins film. And I'm a little concerned about this.
Yeah, you look at
Gremlins and Gremlins 2 extremely meaningful to me, and of a similar vintage of fun genre movie as the Predator and Aliens films. The Predator and Aliens films are much more serious. The Gremlins films are kind of a laugh. But do you know what Chris Columbus has been up to in the last 10 years? Can you name a single film he's directed since 2009?
He produced somebody's movie where I was like, good job, Chris Columbus. Oh, yeah.
And Robert Eggers spoke frequently on his press tour for that film about the Hollywood orthodoxy that Chris Columbus brought to that film, which I thought was interesting. But literally the movies that he's actually directed a film that came out this year, which I have not seen, but Amanda saw and talked about on the show. But here's the 20 years in Chris Columbus directorial films. 2005 Rent. I would say not a beloved adaptation of the beloved musical Rent. 2009 I Love You, Beth Cooper. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. That's the zombie movie, right?
No.
Okay.
It's a teen comedy.
Cool.
2010 Percy Jackson and Olympians, The Lightning Thief.
Lerman, cooking.
Logan Lerman is the star of that film.
Yeah.
2015 Pixels.
Don't know what that is.
That's an Adam Sandler movie where the video games come into the real world.
Okay. That guy gets a lot of mileage out of inanimate objects, like remote controls.
Well, he's about to take it even further because in 2020, he made a film called The Christmas Chronicles Part 2. You know about this movie?
Nope.
Kurt Russell plays Santa.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Goldie Hawn plays Mrs. Claus. What the hell? 2025, The Thursday Murder Club.
Yeah.
Which seems like a kind of a harmless,
enjoyable
old person, detective movie starring Pierce Brosnan. I don't want to tell Chris Columbus how to live his life. He's given me a great many things.
I think he's doing fine.
Primarily Home Alone, which is a masterpiece. Mrs. Doubtfire, film I like. I would appreciate it if he didn't make Gremlins 3. Joe Dante should be making Gremlins 3. And if not Joe Dante, someone younger and cooler, in my opinion.
I was at the Running Man screening a couple weeks ago, and Joe Dante was at the screening, as was Walter Hill. I got to meet Walter Hill.
Two of the goats of genre filmmaking. What did you say to Walter Hill?
I said, I love Extreme Prejudice.
You said I relate to the Nolte character in that film?
I tried to just like go deep with him, and he was like, Powers Booth. Guy's great in that. He was awesome, though.
Walter Hill is the man. Here's our ranking. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
This has definitely been one of the most...
So you just let me do it. You just let me rank it. You're not going to...
I mean, Predators is not number 2. Like, Prey or Predator 2 are both better. Predators is sick on the page and has a couple of cool moments, but it is also dumb as shit.
Adrian Brody plays a mercenary named Royce.
Yeah. Is it a sequel or a prequel to The Brutalist, do you think?
He has openly said he would welcome returning to that world.
I'll bet.
He would
you know
welcome
why?
Returning to the character of Royce.
Money is good.
But there's a few guys dotted throughout Predator franchise history that I think Trachtenberg could be like, what if he was frozen? We could, get him. You know?
What if he was frozen?
Yeah, because like the end of Killer of Killers, you find out that a bunch of the protagonists of Predator movies have been frozen in cryosleep for the Predators to do whatever they do with them.
If you could bring anyone back, would you bring back Jacob Tremblay?
No, I'd bring back Jesse Ventura, sew him back up.
Well, he was annihilated. I don't know if that's going to be feasible.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I'd bring back Billy, who fucking cuts himself across the chest.
Billy, yes.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great call. We're going to put this on social media. We're going to say courtesy of CR.
Okay.
It's going to be...
I'll turn my notifications off and enjoy London.
Number 1, Predator. Number 2, Predators. Number 3, Predator 2. Number 4, Prey. Number 5, Predator Badlands. Number 6, Predator Killer of Killers. Number 7, The Predator. Number 8, Alien vs. Predator. And number 9, Aliens vs. Predator Requiem.
If you live in London and you agree with me about Predators being number 2, come up to me and I'll buy you a beer.
Chris, you just sealed your fate. You're going to be murdered in the street. This is unbelievable that you would say such a thing. How are you handling that now?
What, homies coming up saying what's up?
Being a beloved icon of culture podcasting.
Several big picture fans out here have said, sir,
you always deflect and be like, oh no, it's big picture. No. There are men who are like, thank you for everything that you said about internal affairs. You roiled my loins with your commentary on Andy Garcia's beauty.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, your Byron Mayo got me through COVID.
I did a rewatchables in your absence. It really was like I was in the Chris Ryan seat, and I was
trying to detect what you guys were doing based on the excerpt of the pod that went on Bill's show. So yeah,
I'm happy to say it was Snake Eyes. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. For a second, I thought it was Carlito's Way, and I was getting honestly mad.
No, we wouldn't do that. We talked a lot about how there will be a Running Man style game show between me and you and Van for who gets to be on the Carlito's Way pod, which was pretty funny. We
need to go Yautja and take Bill out for that. We just
you want BS off the Carlito's Way pod? Well, I was doing I was literally doing Pacino for that with the whole, you want to be big time? You're gonna die big time. But I did do a little Byron Mayo. Even though I know I couldn't come within 1/100th.
I think I may have to retire all those guys because I just got blanked so hard when I did Wayne Jenkins in front of Glenn Powell, and he was like, cool, man. Seemed like you got a lot of interests. He was so nice, and he was really didn't make me feel bad about it, but I was like, holy shit, I just exploded. Oh my God. It was just I was fucking just jumped right off the edge of a building there. Yeah, nobody
That's
caught
interesting.
me.
Did you bring up Predators to him about how cool it is?
I was like, you might want to look at that. There's a lot of meat on that, the Royce character bone. You can revive that.
I think Glenn would do well in the Predator world.
Fuck yeah.
The action in Running Man is extremely good. Extremely good action. Too bad you're not going to be on that pod. What the hell, man? Come back to America.
Sorry,
What's
brother.
your story?
I'll be back on Friday.
Okay, and what are you going to do when you return?
If they let me back into the country, I will be probably talking about prestige television and movies with you.
What's coming up in the world of TV? Anything cool?
Industry's coming back
this year.
I think so. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I feel like I would have heard about that.
Stranger Things is kind of taking up all the oxygen.
I'm not going to let you leave until we talk about Sydney Sweeney for a minute, okay?
Sure.
This is the most recent run of her films. I wanted to go through this with you because she's just had Christie come out over the weekend, and it didn't do that well at the box office. I saw the film. I thought it was perfectly fine. I think she gives a really good performance in the movie as it's a biopic about Christy Martin, the boxer. And it's a very sad story, very complicated story. But it is a kind of a rote drama directed by David Michaud, who's directed some movies that you and I like quite a bit, and has been been on a wayward journey in the last 5 or 6 years. But in 2021, she made a movie for Netflix called Night Teeth, where she played a vampire. Didn't really connect.
I don't think I saw that.
In 2023, she played Reality Winner in a film called Reality that was on HBO.
That was a fucking banger.
Interesting film. Very good performance by her.
She's great in it. Yeah.
Then she was in the smash sensation Anyone But You.
Yep. With the aforementioned Glenn Powell.
Correct. Our boy Glenn. 2024, Madam Web.
Not her fault.
Not ideal, I would say.
Maybe nobody's fault. Who knows whose fault that was?
It's fair to say the filmmakers, the studio, everyone who participated, they're all kind of in the wrong on that one. Okay. Then Immaculate, an amusing nun horror film that did modest business.
We dug that. We saw that.
Yeah, we talked about it on the pod. Then she made Eden with Ron Howard, which was just released this year. Didn't do very well.
Mm-hmm.
Echo Valley, which is a film that went straight to Apple TV Plus.
That was Julianne Moore. Sorry.
Yes. Did you see that movie?
No, I've seen that it's on Apple TV.
Okay. Thanks for your commentary. And then the film Christie. So we've got Anyone But You, smash sensation. And then not too much. We did have a jeans controversy at this time.
Like a pretty gritty B movie, with Paul Walter Hauser that came out.
She did. She made Americana, which I have not seen yet. Which
I have not seen that either.
I think that played at South by in 2023, but was only released this year. But I will see Americana. It's on my list. Now, I bring this up for two reasons. One, her next movie is The Housemaid. Have you seen the trailers for The Housemaid?
I haven't, but I know what it is about.
What's it about?
Isn't it about her and Amanda Seyfried and it's like a thriller?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's like what it's about. I mean,
it's not a great log line. I'm sorry. Yeah. Is it about a woman with a maid and the maid might do something wrong? Like what did I miss?
I'll read you the log line. A young woman with a troubled past becomes the live-in housemaid for a wealthy family. However, their seemingly perfect life unravels when she discovers their household hides dark secrets beneath the surface. This movie is directed by Paul Feig. I think it's going to be a very big hit. And I'm wondering where we're at with Sydney Sweeney.
At the box office with it. I mean, look, she's a controversial figure right now. I continue to find her choices as a performer to be very interesting. And I look forward to Euphoria season 3 coming sometime in 2029 when they finish filming it.
Shot entirely on VistaVision.
Yes.
Is it 70? I can't remember what it is. It might just be 70.
I can't remember, but it's like something where I'm like, why? Why are you shooting this on VistaVision? I'm trying to think of I think Reality is probably my favorite performance by her as of yet. I admire the fact that she's real big. She's a big believer in Bill Simmons' bet on yourself doctrine. Like not a lot of like, I'll be the fourth person in this movie. Mm-hmm. More like I am the star. I don't know. It seems like a little early in her career to go award hunting with like Christie and stuff like that. But like, whatever, we'll see how it shakes out.
I think it's cool that she's trying to make films like that. I think it's smart to be under 30 and to not limit yourself to being the bombshell in everything that she does. But
she drives people insane. So I don't know if she's going to be able to ever like just be like herself or like truly be seen as a character, because I think she's such a controversial figure in pop culture. And people use her as like a litmus test. Like, oh, do you like Sydney Sweeney? You must have, enjoyed the government shutdown.
Who is who's the last America's Most Wanted babe that elevated up to credibility? Is it Halle Berry? I'm trying to think of who is the last actress who really, because, we've had a lot of very young actresses become very successful at a young age, become honored, beautiful actresses, but maybe not in the same category of like desirable, I guess, like Emma Stone, Jennifer Lawrence, like these are like really glamorous actresses, and who are celebrated in their work, but it's a different thing where the like ogling is a part of the persona.
Yeah. I mean, she is kind of a throwback to like the Maxim era, or
the Marilyn Monroe era, like there is like a long history of actresses trying to elevate, utilizing.
I can't think of the last person who's crossed over from that world, mostly because it's become so lucrative to be in that world now with the ways you can kind of make money that, you don't necessarily have to become a serious actress to sort of elevate your career financially.
That's another reason why I think it's cool what she's doing, which is that like she keeps making independent films. She works with filmmakers that she likes. She's trying to make movies. She cares about movies. She's producing movies. I mean, she could just have like a reality show called like Simply Sydney and probably do quite well for herself. So the fact that she's like, stop giving ideas away. That's insane. You just gave away literally a $10 million idea. Simply Sydney. It's just Sydney Sweeney. She wakes up, she makes eggs. And she looks at her phone. Yep. Yeah. And everybody's like, wow, this is incredible. This is slow TV. This is amazing. Sierra, just nice to spend some time with you. This is the first we've spoken in 10 days. I know. I got to run out. Still happy hour. It's always happy hour here. So I'm going to go meet my wife for a lovely, like some pheasant or whatever we eat here. Give her my best. If you eat pheasant, that's weird. Do me a favor. Ask Phoebe to just text me her thoughts, like right off the top of her head about Sydney Sweeney. Like, I just want to know, unfilled. Don't give her any setup. Don't I want to know what Phoebe thinks. She sometimes next to me in bed will watch an Instagram video like the GQ interview that's obviously gone quite viral. She'll just keep watching those clips and like plays the audio out loud and then like out of the side like looks at me to see what my reaction is. And I'm like, I don't know what you expect. Like, I'm not going to be like Sylvester the cat, like with my eyes popping out. You know who she reminds me of in that very specific respect is Jennifer Love Hewitt. Where Jennifer Love Hewitt kind of drove a generation of women, at least women that I knew, crazy. Because they were like, she's not that hot. What's the deal? And I said nothing. I just said, whatever you say. Thank you. Yeah. We'll give Phoebe my best.
I will.
Give the Yautja my best. And are you dining with Hikeseth tonight, or what are you doing?
No, we couldn't make it work timing wise.
It's too bad. When are you going to be back on American Shores? Friday?
Friday. Yeah, so look for me hitting LAX. You said the TMZ cameras.
And just so we can circle back, you said if someone agrees with you about predators on this list, they should kiss you on the mouth in the street?
No, I said if you come up to me in a bar, if you see me in a bar or whatever, and you're like, I also think predators is number 2, I will buy you a drink.
That's a beautiful sentiment.
Then I'll put it on my expense report so you can approve it.
CR, nice to see you. Thanks so much for your work.
Bye.
Thanks to Jack Sanders for his work on this episode as well. Later this week, number 5.
Thanks to Bex for staying late in London for producing on this.
Oh, thanks, Bex. Later this week, Chris, we're doing number 5 on 25 for 25. I told this to the live audience when we did our show on Saturday night, our secret screening, that number 5 is Freddy Got Fingered. So congrats.